This actor nailed it in what I believe to be one of my favorite scenes from a TV series, where you could just feel the absolute emotions in it so well.
And I make nothing, zero, zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists, all my people in my research department, lab coats, it's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless. And I'm
Damn right, as of course a lot of people hate paying taxes, as soon, in just a few hours from now, they will have to dole out more money to the federal government that previously took the money and, ran international child trafficking and grooming operations with it. All of this as questions still remain. What in the world is happening with the Epstein client list, as now we have Judicial Watch actually suing the Department of Justice, as some are arguing that the DOJ is violating the law by not complying with it. As of course, we have some new comments from Pam Bondi that are very concerning, specifically about this particular case here, as still there is no timeline. Still, we don't know exactly what's going on here. And still, there are really seedy predators out there hurting small children. This is Ghislaine Maxwell soon might be potentially getting out of jail. How will that happen? We're going to talk about it in this particular video, about a story that, of course, we have been on the forefront of for an extremely long frickin' time. Corporate media was promoting Epstein. The government was covering it up. They were making sure that predators out there were able to continue to hurt children while we were calling it out. Major news organizations had the story, had the witnesses. Boom! No, we're just not going to talk about it. They didn't. We did. Independent media definitely was extremely important here, as now a portion of it, Judicial Watch, a legal branch of what people believe to be a kind of populistic right-wing kind of think group, just came out and sued the Department of Justice, saying, hey, if you guys won't release these Epstein files, we're going to make sure you guys release them through Freedom of Information Act requests. Those requests already have been denied twice. What's going on here is Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, gave us a little bit of insight into what's happening here, as she specifically, on the heels of rejecting this, was asked the very specific question on Fox News. She loves those Fox News interviews. That really is concerning and does hint at one of the theories that we told you here that probably is going on here, that now sadly has been kind of confirmed here. Here's what she had to say.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Those files are getting dust on them, okay? You got to get the duster out by this point, okay? They've been on there for quite a while here, as a lot of people are saying. Well, there's a lot of files. Okay, I understand that. I'll give you two sides of the argument here. One, being very accommodating and very nice to this current kind of administration, and another one a little bit more critical. And I think you guys will be able to make up your own minds to what you personally believe is going on here, but you'll let me know in the comments after we look at all the evidence first.
That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed, because
okay, if we're reviewing these files, there should be a priority list. MLK, RFK, JFK. Listen, they're important, but not as important as predators out there that are still hurting children. That's the big one, okay? Since these predators are very powerful, have a lot of money, have a lot of influence, and these people, most likely, are still hurting. There's children being hurt right now, okay? The JFK, RFK, MLK files, when they release, they won't stop and release how a bunch of, predators are still out there. Okay, it's an older story. This is a new story that involves people that are still alive to this day, still active, and still doing absolutely horrible things. So if I'm Pam Bondi, I should have done, I would have done things completely different, okay? There would have been no particular phases. I would have given a timeline, and then you set everything aside. Be like, listen, let's have a priority here. Let's not try to do all of this at once. This is the most important one, since, children are still getting hurt here.
because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well,
Nervous laughter. Okay. That's a big question there. And it does highlight something that I said from the very beginning of this when she announced, I've gotten the truckloads. And again, my disappointment in this has been kind of seated in, I think, the more rational take on all of this here, because, we were promised a lot of bill of goods. It wasn't delivered. And then when I found out the details of how they expect this release to happen, I was so disappointed. Because I thought, hey, there's actually a whistleblower. There's actually government employees within the FBI that saw it, that have the receipts, that have the hard drives, that have the tapes, that have the photos, that have the videos. They have everything. They went to Pam Bondi. They went to Cash Patel, and they gave it to them. They're going to be releasing that. No. What I found out is that they're getting these files by asking the FBI that has been complicit in running this operation for the files. And of course, the FBI obfuscated, gave a little bit of files. The guy who obfuscated it, the guy at the Southern District of New York, the guy at the New York City field office lied, obfuscated, and then still got a standing ovation and bagpipes on his way out with a full retirement. That right there. Whoa. Why? At least he was kicked out. Great. There's other people being promoted in the FBI that there's still a lot of very serious questions about. We'll talk about them in just a little bit. But then I was like, okay, how are they getting these files? They asked the FBI for them. And I'm like, okay, the FBI is going to do one of two things. One, give them fake files. Two, give them too much of files, so they have to go through it. You know what? You could go back to these videos that I did, and I specifically outlined this scenario, and that's exactly looks like what happened. They gave her a bunch of nothing, and they have to sift through a bunch of nothing, and they're going to come to the conclusion, be like, yeah, we got nothing. Because the FBI obfuscated, deleted, and destroyed a lot of the real hardcore evidence on a lot of these real predators out there. Before talking about Judicial Watch and these lawsuits that are happening right now and the potential release of this, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could express your indignation about the current Epstein release just by getting a T-shirt and wearing it to the general public and be like, hey, yeah, at least we know about it. As of course, you can get the shirt that I'm wearing right now with Javier Milei saying afuera on it right now by typing in afuera into the search thing here on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and it pops right up. Now, if you want to get a lot of the Epstein-related stuff, by the way, our store was literally shut down because BuzzFeed ran a hit piece on us, and they destroyed our online T-shirt business because of our Jeffrey Epstein type of clothing. And we got a lot of great clothing out there that is definitely pretty hilarious. I like this one saying Christmas lights are like Epstein. And the byline, you have to read it to find out why. We have Epstein didn't F off himself, and then we have a bunch of other stuff that is really great stuff that's really, just kind of intuitive to understand, like, hey, yeah, there's a bigger picture out there. And the people who understand it, those are the people that should be your friends. And the best way to make friends is to, of course, be a little bit more proactive, be a little bit more expressive, and thebestpoliticalshirts.com absolutely facilitates that. And if you're a single, child, if you're an introvert, this is the perfect way to go out there, meet people, but more importantly, do your own lazy form of activism, and then, be able to express yourself in a real life world that isn't through a blue frickin' screen. Get out of the blue screens, go out into the real world, enjoy yourselves. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link and get yourself or your loved one or your crazy uncle a gift that I think they would definitely appreciate. Now, Judicial Watch says, okay, we're getting a little tired here, and we're going to issue more lawsuits right now to the DOJ saying, you know what, just release the records. Get it out there, as the DOJ has already declined this Freedom of Information Act request twice. Now, why are they doing this? Are they hiding something? Is it more sinister? I'll give you my explanations here a little bit now, as this is something that the public has been demanding for a long time. And if there's a big nothing burger, this is going to be a big failure for this administration that a lot of people are going to have some serious questions about whether they're a part of the cover-up or not. There was previous members of Trump's administration in his first term that played a major role in Epstein's saga, specifically his former Department of Transportation head that came out and said essentially that Epstein was an intel asset, and that's what they told him to do, and he was the prosecutor that essentially gave him a slap on the wrist. He then, of course, later resigned in disgrace here. Are there any other members of Trump's new cabinet and administration that could be complicit in this, and potentially why we're not seeing this? Well, that's definitely the black pill doomer kind of explanation to all of this. And that is one explanation that people are going with, saying, yeah, this administration is corrupt. They're covering it up. They will never release the list. They will never actually hold these criminals accountable, and they will allow these child predators to still be out there to hurt children because they're so integrated in our mainline society. An even darker black pill and possibility to swallow here is the fact that they maybe are already so powerful, have so much compromise, have so much abilities that there's no way to ever rein them in. Even when you are trying to rein them in, they come to you and they either offer you something, threaten you somehow, as there of course is that also a possibility. That's the darker pill. Now, let's go over and explain more of what I think is maybe probable here. And that is an explanation about just the ways of somehow the government works here. Okay. Now, the white pill explanation here is that, according to the now Attorney General of New Jersey, there are criminal charges being filed. We saw Elon Musk hint at some major players going down and being arrested for facilitating protests against them. The people who are facilitating protests against them also coincide with the Epstein list, by the way. So Musk was saying, hey, the people who helped organize these protests and these violent acts against Teslas will go to jail. The favorable explanation to this administration is that they're working on this and they're doing secret grand jury indictments. The indictments and court proceedings are happening right now, and that they can't release the list because if they do, they're going to tip off the predators and the really horrible people on those lists that they're coming for them. And therefore, they will be able to obfuscate, hide a lot of their crimes. And if they want to do it in a legitimate way where actual people go down, they would, of course, first indict these people, have secret grand jury indictments, and then, of course, put them in a court of law. These take a number of specific days to, of course, happen, especially when you're building evidence, especially when you're looking at all the documents here. And first, we'll see arrests, and then we'll see the documents released. That's the extremely favorable explanation of what some people are saying is potentially going on here. Now, is that exactly what's going on here? No. I would say that from the very beginning, I was, and again, there's a possibility that could happen, but that's being very favorable to this administration. I think what's happening is that they're kind of over their head with this. I think the FBI criminals that were ignoring children all the way back in the 1990s and helping facilitate the abuse of children through, of course, powerful extortion and compromise that they have been kind of using and utilizing from the very beginning of their existence under J. Edgar Hoover. We're going to find that out through the MLK and RFK files when they come out soon anyway. I think they're way over their heads. I think there's a huge insubordinate FBI at the helm here that are still kind of calling the shots here. And a lot of them, even bad people, are being promoted here. Now, we just found out that Stephen Jensen, a man that allegedly was one of the most aggressive prosecutors of the J6ers and allegedly also was spying on school board meetings to identify parents as potential terrorists, was somehow promoted to lead the Washington, D.C. field office. Now, if that is happening here, I believe that deserves criticism here for Kash Patel. There's also going to be a lot of criticism here of Dan Bongino, who has been screaming out about the dangers of the deep state here, what's really going on here. As, of course, if there's not a big fish here, if there's not a major player here indicted or arrested, everyone's going to see this as a wash. Everything's going to see this as a bigger conspiracy than it actually is here. Now, Kash Patel got a little bit of criticism over the weekend. Some people criticized him because he went to the UFC. I don't think that's a fair criticism. Me and Jeremy from the Quartering actually just disagreed with that and had a very interesting argument about that on his show. But I do believe if you're promoting and hiring and helping people with horrible track records in the FBI, this is not a good signal moving forward. Kash Patel was also removed as the acting ATF director. So something is definitely happening within the internal rankings of these intel agencies that definitely is a little bit weird here. I do believe that the FBI has already obfuscated successfully the larger maneuvers here of a lot of these sinister people like, Ghislaine Maxwell here. who, by the way, is taking her appeal case to the Supreme Court. Yes, Ghislaine Maxwell asked the U.S. Supreme Court on Friday to overturn her conviction, as of course her conviction is for providing a service to absolutely no one, an illegal service. She is arguing that she was covered by a non-prosecution agreement that the government made with Mr. Epstein. And again, the deals that Epstein was able to cut here are insane. We went into them in great detail before here, but Epstein was able to, of course, skirt so many of the rules. He was a registered offender, didn't have to follow any of the protocols. He was walking around with police officers protecting him when he was supposed to be in jail as he was hurting children continually. But now Maxwell is serving 20 years. She was convicted on 5 counts of aiding Epstein with the abuse of children. To absolutely no one. The Southern District of New York covered up this case and made sure that no clientele were revealed here, even though the judge, the prosecutors could have revealed, hey, these were the guys that Ghislaine Maxwell was giving children to. Guess what? They didn't do any of that, which is extremely strange here. And now you're going to have Pam Bondi going to those same people and be like, yeah, those same people, hey, please give us the information now. They gave her a truckload of nothing. I'm telling you. I legitimately was so heartbroken, so disappointed when I found out there's no whistleblower here. There's no government agent kind of coming forward here and showing them where the bodies are buried. They're literally getting the files by asking for them this late in the game. I was like, we're never getting the truth here. Never. And then that's my point of view here. And that's why I think Pam Bondi just said, oh, yeah, there's nothing here. Yeah, we're going through all the files. Not seeing anything. No timeline either. As, of course, I expect this to be kind of drawn out here for a very long time. And again, I hope I'm wrong. That optimistic, very favorable explanation that I just gave you, I hope is right, because that means thousands of children are going to get justice. That means thousands of children in the future won't continue to get hurt here. That's great. And powerful people who rule with total impunity and are so delusional, so powerful that they believe that they can do anything and to anyone, finally get put in check. That right there. And I hope it's true. But I think right now we're at a point where it's about 2 to 5% chance that that's the case here. My case is the FBI obfuscated this. The FBI now gave her a bunch of nothing. And that's why she came out, yeah, I don't see nothing. That, to me, is extremely disappointing, as, of course, Judicial Watch probably will continue to be denied here. The revelations, the release probably is not going to happen, and then people are going to hope that they forget about this since they have nothing here. But guess what? That's not going to happen here. People are not going to forget this. I can't forget this. The children won't forget this. And there's some very serious kind of legitimate questions here with a lot of very powerful people that were involved here. Of course, we're talking about some of the biggest banks. Jess Stanley, by the way, came out. She said, yeah, I took a chance in lying about my links to Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I just lied. Yeah. What? Huh. Yeah, I was hanging out with the guy that procures small children to very powerful people, and I lied about it. What are you going to do? Give me back my banking license, okay? I don't care if I skirted the rules. I don't care if you have to fill out all these tax forms for your little... You're trying to get $9,000, $10,000. No, now it's like $4,000, $5,000. You're trying to get $4,000 out of your own bank account. Oh no! What are you doing then? You got to tell us why. You got to. Epstein was able to move millions of dollars, pay off victims, pay off politicians, pay off celebrities, pay off the police. Millions of dollars moving back and forth, no regulations at all through the banking system, through some of the biggest banks in the world. That, of course, go after the pillow guy. The pillow guy gets debanked. I have a hard time getting a bank. Other people who are activists have a hard time getting a bank because they express political opinions. People who hurt children. Yeah, front of the line, sir. Front of the line. Priority VIP coming through. Yeah, right here. That guy. Yeah. Let's give rules, regulations. Nah, not for these guys. They're big, powerful players. Don't worry about it. Who cares? Yeah, they hurt children. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? That's essentially the message the establishment is sending to us right now. And sadly, I don't think we're getting the files. I think the reason that there's no timeline, because they don't have anything, they're going to go through these truckloads of documents. And again, it should be priority number 1. Priority number one. Priority number one. It's not. This to me should be taken a lot more seriously, and we need to have an honest, earnest kind of conversation. Will we have it? What do you think? Let me know down in the description below. Hey, I just got a shirt or a hat. TheBestPoliticalShirts.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on YouTube.com/We Are Change.